website.
What are we doing with it?
I just want to ask you, what do you think Rand Paul's chances are? What do you think of the audience? What do you think of Ted Cruz versus Rand Paul? Do they eat into each other's votes, et cetera, and sort of like what your data is on that?
Well, Rand Paul's real. There's no question about that. He's the second candidate who's officially announced. He's obviously going to be in a Tea Party Libertarian battle with Ted Cruz. Rand Paul gets the Libertarian mantle. Ted Cruz has more Tea Party support. And you got to throw in Marco Rubio there as the three senators who are going to be battling against each other, and wonder how that makes Mike Lee of Utah feel to see his three best buddies all running for president. He's on the sidelines.
So do you think that Tea Party vote kind of gets split three ways, and does that give an edge to Jeb Bush?
I don't think it gives an edge necessarily to anybody. Whoever wins the nomination's got to get the most Republicans, whether it comes from a three-legged stool or a four-legged table. You've got foreign policy conservatives, you've got American domestic policy economic conservatives, and you have the social conservatives and the traditional three-leg. But in this particular campaign, we have libertarians and Tea Partiers who are of, it's a different type of campaign. It's not new. Barry Goldwater did it. Pat Buchanan did it. There have been a lot of candidates who've sort of been insurgent outsiders in the Republican Party trying to change it. That's what Rand says he's going to do. He's going to do it in a way that a lot of conservatives have issues with. His social agenda is more moderate than a lot of conservative Republicans. He thinks that things like gay marriage should be a state issue and not a federal one. While he's for traditional marriage, he's going to say it's really not up to the federal government to dictate.
So the last time around, we saw Rick Santorum take Iowa. Ron Paul, I think, came in a close second, perhaps third. And Rand Paul, he could probably get it pretty high in Iowa. But do you think he needs to win? Do you think he needs to win Iowa, or do you think he can come back later and possibly win in like Nevada or New Hampshire? Like, where does Rand Paul really kind of need to stake his claim and resources early on, do you think?
In the early primary states, it's undeniable that New Hampshire is his must-win state. And it could be very difficult to win New Hampshire. While there is a very deep libertarian streak in the live free or die state, it is also very much establishment Republican state. As the first in the nation primary, they take this process very, very seriously. And Mr. Paul's accused isolationism will be a big deal in New Hampshire, and it could undermine his advantages with some of the more independent-minded libertarian voters on the right. Having said that, Rand Paul is trying to be a change agent in the Republican Party, which doesn't necessarily lend itself to winning the nomination. It may shape the party, and I think that people close to Rand Paul, even folks like J.C. Watts, is here at the announcement today and supporting him because of the communities that Rand Paul is trying to appeal to. He's looking to grow the party with minorities, and that's something that J.C. Watts has been talking about since he was in Congress in the 90s, and he's here to highlight that idea. So those are general election strategies for a Republican, not the kind of thing that necessarily plays well in the early voting states. In Iowa, 65% of the Republican caucus goers are self-described evangelicals. While Rand is a Christian, it's not part of his rhetoric on the stump, except to say that Christians are being persecuted worldwide, and he has been quiet on RFRA, the religious freedom reauthorization, and as a consequence of that absence of commentary over the last week while he's been preparing for his speech, people want to know where he stands on that stuff. Is he going to be a libertarian or is he going to be a Christian, and how do they overlap? In Iowa, it could be difficult for Rand because of that. In New Hampshire, because he is a conservative, some of the independents who might agree with his foreign policy or his positions on marijuana and some of the social issues may have differences with his desire to, for instance, gut the IRS and do away with the Department of Energy or things like that, that may be too aggressive for New Hampshire. Then he goes to South Carolina, where he is going to have a very strong organization, and he'll be strong there. But New Hampshire is really the place he has to do well. In the old days, we used to say that Iowa winnows the field to maybe 3 to 5 candidates. New Hampshire cuts it down to 2, and then South Carolina picks. Now, because of super PACs and the internet, they can go a lot longer. Rand Paul could be in this race for a long, long distance, whether or not he wins the nomination, because of the way the calendar is and because of the new political campaign track.
Great. Carl, thank you very much.
Thanks, buddy.
Have a good one.